41 Haas Automation Monster Energy Ford for Stuart Haas Racing, who set a new track record with a lap of 200.915 miles per hour. Wow, man, that's fast. Walk us through that lap.
Yeah, that's pretty neat to hear over 200 miles an hour average speed for a lap time at a mile and a half. And it was really neat, just the way that today unfolded for us. And right before I jumped in the car, I saw an old friend, and he had his two sons with him, and they were just in awe. They were down on pit road checking it all out for qualifying, and I winked at both of them, and I said, it's going to be over 200 miles an hour today. And they're like, whoa. And then I was able to back it up, so now I feel impressed. Really neat day with the cars runs through each of the three rounds. The last round, we've been struggling in round 3 with the heat cycles on the tires throughout this year. And in the last round, they asked me air pressure, wedge, or track bar, and I said D, all the above. We really loosened her up and let her rip. What's the difference between 12th and 4th or 5th? Not much. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't leave anything out on the track, and it was a nice pole run. Really happy for Tony Gibson. It's his birthday, and everybody on the 41 car.
Okay, we'll open the floor for questions. We'll start here with Reed, and then we'll go to Wolfgang.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. You just ran the fastest qualifying lap ever at a 1.5-mile track. What does it feel like?
3 and 4, it's an incredible sensation. The car, once it goes into the banking, it travels. The suspension collapses in the car and travels, and the car gets lower to the ground, and it actually picks up speed because you're lower to the ground, and therefore you have less drag. And so it's a sensation that it's hard to describe, but when you have that grip level in the car, it gives you that feeling like, man, I can just put it down to the floor and there's not going to be any consequences. But turns 1 and 2, that's where I think the lap time comes from. If you can get it to hook and stay right on the bottom, because that end of the track is a lot flatter and you have to back out of the gas all the way. And then where in 3 and 4, you can almost hold it wide open. So both ends of the track are very different. And it's a cool sensation driving through 3 and 4, almost holding it wide open.
Wolfgang?
I have 2 again. This is okay.
You can have 2. You can have 2, Wolfgang.
Good. Wolfgang Monser from German Rennsport Press Agency. I have a follow-up from Reed. How is it personal feeling for you with such incredible speed in your cockpit from the G-forces point of view? And question number 2, for the race, traffic is maybe an important part. Is there technically a possibility to make the car better in traffic for the race?
Yeah, the sensation of speed it's unbelievable. I mean, it's such a cool feeling to go through. Both ends of the racetrack are very different, and to go through turns 3 and 4 almost wide open and have that car literally feels like it gains speed through the corner. That's one of the best feelings, and that's one thing I always tell people. What's the best part about being a NASCAR driver? And I said, it's usually on Friday, that first practice session, jumping down into the corner at 200 miles an hour. That's one of the best feelings in the world. And so we got pole today, and to follow up that question about traffic and how the car will handle in the race. Dirty air is it's very dirty here at Texas because the pace drop off is quite a bit. So lap times will slow up, and then the lap times will slow up even more once we get to Saturday's practices in the afternoon. And then the weather forecast will be 92 degrees and sunny on Sunday, and it's going to be even slower. And so you have to change the setup around these changing track conditions. And Texas is one of the tracks that has the biggest delta as far as change between Friday and Sunday.
We'll go next to Lewis, and then to Joey, and then to Jerry.
Actually, Wolfgang's number 2 question was my question, so but congratulations.
Yeah, there's a lot to the dirty air and how the track will change to Sunday.
Okay, we'll go to Joey, then to Jerry, and then up front to Bob.
Joey Barnes, Motorsports Tribune. Kurt, I know that SHR and Ford kind of started with some growing pains throughout the year. Talk about maybe the validation, not only from having extracted the pace to get this pole, but what we've seen as of late from y'all making the gains.
Yeah, I feel like the Ford's the aerodynamic balance is good for the single car runs, the low drag, and the faster tracks. We won Daytona, Stenhouse won Talladega and July Daytona, and then Keselowski won at Talladega in the fall. those are tracks where we're going fast. Average speed is up and it's high, just like today. Even though this is a downforce style track, the Fords seem to have a little less drag. And when you have that, you need to make sure you capitalize on it on the Fridays. But for all of SHR, the balance of the Fords were a bit different than what we expected. And then some of the rule changes this year with templates, and then just the trend of losing rear downforce, that compounded the Ford's balance. And then a lot of the rear end rules this year, as far as no skew, how things are tightened up in that region, we've just been trying to get back to a baseline that we're comfortable with.
Jerry, Bob, and then Jim.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net, Performance Racing Network. Your pole trophy, you going to keep this one, or you going to give it to the old man for his birthday?
Now, I always have it in any of our deals where we get a win or get a pole trophy, and I'll get him a replica. It's always cool to come to Texas and to go for a pole run and you get a gun afterwards. I mean, heck yeah. I mean, a shotgun. It's awesome.
Bob?
Bob Pockers, ESPN. I also had a couple. How much slower will you go on Sunday if the temps are around 90 degrees? I mean, are you going to be able to go over 200?
I think top speed, we'll see 200, but not average. It'll drop probably 7-8 miles per hour. It's going to be a lot as far as average speed drop.
And then also any progress yet for you for next year?
Yeah, no updates for me. We're in negotiations, and so days like today help quite a bit.
We'll go next to Jim.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Kind of following up on Joey's questions with the speed that you and particularly Kevin have been able to find in these last several weeks. Do you think it would be wrong to count your teammate out of the championship race right now?
No, I think Kevin has the right mindset. He knows he doesn't have a dominant car like he had in 2014. And there's times when the fastest car doesn't always win the race. And yet, with the bonus points that he has and the approach, I think that he can do a nice job of averaging his way into the Homestead finale. But if he's got a shot to win on Sunday, that's where I've got to use, my smarts to help him out. Last week, the final restart, he was restarting 9th, and I was restarting 12th. I was in the row behind Kevin, and you feel that. You feel a responsibility as a team driver to help a guy that's still eligible in the playoffs do what he can to gain that 1 point here or that 1 point there. So I still think that we're going to see a group of manufacturers down in Homestead, a Chevy, a Ford, a Toyota, and then there's always that extra one that gets in. And there's no reason why there can't be two Fords with Keselowski and with Harvick. Blaney's still eligible too. I mean, the Fords are right there. It's just we haven't had the dominance like the Toyotas have had all year. We just have to be smart, and we have to be a little bit luckier than those guys to make sure that we're getting the points out of each Sunday.
Any additional questions? We'll go here to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Kurt, you're just talking about the situation at Martinsville last week with watching where your teammate was. Is that more of a personal thing that you try to keep abreast of with? And I know there's so much other things to go, or is that something that comes from the team? Where is that line in helping, and where is that line in doing what you need to do in that situation when it's a non-playoff and a playoff driver?
I think it's more of a personal call. It's who you are as a person and how you want to be respected on the track, how you want to be respected internally at SHR. There's been a lot of good camaraderie this year amongst the Ford group, as the management, the drivers, everybody. And so, there's different hats you wear, and I didn't have a shot at really running in the top 5 at Martinsville, but I had a teammate in front of me, and it's just small things that add up. And when you're in contract negotiations, you wave that in front of them as well.
Any additional questions for Kurt? Well, Kurt, congratulations on winning the Coors Light Pole Award. Good luck on Sunday.
Great. Thank you.
Take care.